anyone who looks at Jordan Henderson can see a role model in so many different ways. He's been brilliant for England, not just as a player, but also as an inspiration around the camp. He looks after the other players and drives them on. I remember then when he was sort of not entirely fit ahead of the Euros, I think, and I remember there was a bit of a sort of a hurrah because Roy Keane had said, what are they taking him along for? To do the quizzes. And actually, it was a bit of a joke from Roy, and Jordan and Roy were involved in a bit of text banter as well during that time, and Jordan said, no, hold on, I know you're only joking, I know it was a bit of a laugh and a joke. He respects Roy a lot because Roy gave him his debut at Sunderland many years ago. But we have got news in the last sort of 24 hours or so, and I think I was taken by surprise by this because I said I don't think this is going to happen.
I don't think any of us did.
That he's leaning towards accepting this offer from the Saudi Pro League, Al Ettifaq.
Well, yeah, I think first and foremost, when we were speaking with Danny Murphy yesterday, we didn't realise that the vast figure that he was being offered. I don't think Jordan Henderson necessarily expected to be offered £700,000 a week either.
Do you know how much that is a year, tax-free?
Work it out.
£36.4 million.
And he has to stay for 2 years, as we've discussed already, to get that tax-free. So that's
it's going to be
£72.5
million.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it is life-changing money. My argument, I made it on breakfast this morning with Gabby Agbon-Lahore, is that he already earns life-changing money. And you mentioned he's come from a working-class background. He's fought his way from Sunderland to Liverpool. If you remember, his signing wasn't warmly received by Liverpool fans. He's changed that perception. He's captained the team. He's led them to win every major trophy there is to win. Is this how he really wants his legacy to be remembered? By cashing in and taking the Saudi Arabian money, especially when he's been so vocal about some of the social issues that clearly have marred that part of the world. I'm not convinced he needs to do this. I think there's still unfinished business for him at Liverpool, that they were poor by their standards last season. They want to get back to challenging Manchester City for the Premier League title. They certainly, at the very least, want to get back into the Champions League. Would his legacy not be better served saying no to the money and continuing this story at Liverpool? That's before we even get into the European Championships next summer. If he's playing in Saudi Arabia, Gareth Southgate can't take him to the Euros.
Listen, let's be completely clear, and I've said this to you a number of times, I'd be completely staggered if he took it because of, one, his loyalty to Liverpool, two,
his legacy
the values
at Liverpool
he upholds, three, that represents the fact that his England career is far from over at this moment in time. He's been posting images on social media of himself getting fit this summer. He's done that for a reason, to show people that he is ready and eager to go.
And that's not a message to Saudi Arabia.
No, it's a message to Jurgen Klopp that I want to come back and play football week in, week out. And if they're selling Fabinho to Saudi Arabia, which I think probably is more likely, by the way, then I doubt that Jordan Henderson will be one that leaves too. But it has taken this by surprise, because Dominic King was on breakfast this morning and he was saying, look, there's a lot more to discuss here than just the initial rumours. There is substance to it.
From the discussions that I've had over the last week, particularly over the last 48 hours, yeah, it's very real. It's a situation where he could go. I think there's still lots of discussions to be had. He's got to speak to Jurgen Klopp. I mean, another thing that you have to take into effect is Liverpool would ask for a substantial transfer fee. It wouldn't be a question of him just leaving just because Al Ettifaq want to sign him. There's still a lot to be ironed out, but it's a very, very real, very, very real option.
And that's the key thing, I think, and Dom sort of outlined that very well there, the Daily Mail's Northern football correspondent, is that it's a very real option. So before we start castigating him for getting involved in taking the offer, let's just remember that he hasn't taken the offer yet. There's no situation where he's decided to leave Liverpool. It may well be that he goes in, when he returns to training, I think he returns to training in the next 2 days or something like that, and Jurgen Klopp says to him, what's this about? And he says, well, I've been offered a load of money, but, I want to stay if I'm going to play regularly. And then Jurgen Klopp says, well, we want you to stay because we want you to play regularly, and everything goes away, straight away. So there's every possibility that can happen. It may well be that he ends up signing an extension at Liverpool for an extra year, which is what I think probably is more likely.
I don't think he's going to get $700,000 a week. But
he's definitely not going to get $700,000 a week.
Right.
But that may well be the situation. But ultimately, let's just remember, nothing's happened yet. People make offers all the time. Let's not give him too much of a hard time. He hasn't taken it. And by the way, there is arguments on both sides. I completely understand why there would be slight worries about it. Yes, I also understand about the fact that he's a current England international. But this is a life-changing amount of money, and you'd take it.
It's all relative. He already earns a life-changing amount of money. He's Liverpool captain. They are one of the biggest clubs in the world. I don't see, apart from the pocket full of cash, what he gets from going to Saudi Arabia.
What if Jurgen Klopp tells him that he's not going to be playing next season and they're going to sign somebody else and he's only going to be a bit part player?
Yeah, I can't see that conversation taking place from Jurgen Klopp's side, but I think you're right. I think he does want certain assurances. We know that there are big plans for a midfield overhaul. They've signed Alexis McAllister. They've signed Szoboszlai. But I think Henderson, above Fabinho, I think does still have a role to play for Liverpool. I can see why they would be willing to cash in on Fabinho, so I tend to agree with you. I think that's probably the more likely scenario. But I'm just saying, and you're right, we shouldn't jump to conclusions. I would have a lot more respect for Jordan Henderson if he said, no, thank you, I don't want that money, I'm going to stay at Liverpool.
Henderson's been one of the great supporters and most vocal players in support of the LGBTQI community.
And that's got to be a massive factor as well.
And obviously it's clear that in Saudi Arabia homosexuality is illegal, and there was a few people on social media last night saying that if he does move to Saudi Arabia, it's going to damage his legacy with that particular group of fans. Again, I'll reiterate, he hasn't taken the offer. At this moment in time, it's just an option for him that has been presented to his people. But at the same time, not necessarily is it a situation which cannot be rectified, because we often talk about these players who go to Saudi. A lot of us are saying, well, maybe they'll speak out about human rights, maybe they'll speak out about LGBTQI plus rights in those countries. Maybe, I mean, might be over optimistic here, but maybe Jordan Henderson may well end up doing that if that is the route that he decides to take. So just because it's an option, I don't think we should be saying, well, he's damaged his legacy with these supporters, he's done this, he's done that, nothing's happened yet. We should wait and see how it pans out in the fullness of time.